because he would cooperate without compromise. Isn't it interesting that every time he comes on the scene, he's not part of, I mean, he was technically part of the Dream Solvers Guild. But have you noticed, every time he comes on the scene, it's after the Bomber Boys have come in. He's not with them at the start. Have you noticed that? Some of you are nodding to me. Look it up later. It's the case. Every time Nebuchadnezzar or Belshazzar calls for these guys to come in, they come in, but Daniel's not with them. They can't get it done, and then Daniel's called. He cooperates, but he never compromises. And I'm talking about issues of the faith. Don't hear me say that and say tonight when you get home, well, honey, preacher said I should never compromise, so you don't get to change the channel. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. That's foolish. I'm talking about matters of faith, of biblical truth. He would cooperate without compromise, and he was courageous and consistent with the truth. He was courageous in his commitment to God's word. Those are hallmarks of a man. And I love what he said after Belshazzar says, if you interpret it, you're going to be, I'm going to give you a new purple robe. I'm going to make you the third ruler in the kingdom, and I'm going to give you some more bling. And what does Daniel say? Keep your gifts for yourself. Reward somebody else. But I will tell you what the dream means. And so now we come to the deluded king. And let's read verses 17 through 29. I've kind of gotten carried away. I've lost track of time. But let's read begin at verse 17. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let your gifts be to yourself, give the rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king and make known to him the interpretation. And then he does a little history lesson. Good thing. So when you hear me start off that way, don't get aggravated with me. This is a great way to build anticipation. I've got Daniel as an example. This is what he does. He says, hey, listen, O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom. God gave Nebuchadnezzar a kingdom in majesty and glory and honor. For the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive. And whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne. They took his glory from him, and he was driven from the sons of men. His heart was made like the beast. His dwelling was with the wild asses, that they fed him with grass like oxen. His body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomsoever he will. And you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, even though you knew all this. But you lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before you, and your lords, wives, concubines have drunk wine in them. You've praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which don't see, hear, or know, and the God in whose hand your breath is, and whose are all thy ways, you have not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this was the writing. So now, after that little sermonette, now he gets to it. Here was the writing, many, many tekel upharsin. And this is the interpretation of it, many. God has numbered the kingdom and finished it. You've been numbered. Tekel, you are weighed in the balances and are found wanting, are found lacking. Upharsin, Perez,